Hi, I'm Dahlia Stroud and I host the Stressed But Well Dressed podcast. In this season of Stressed But Well Dressed, we're recording in collaboration with SmartWorks. Stressed But Well Dressed brings conversations to life on the link between clothes and confidence, helping listeners to understand what it really means to feel well dressed and recognising that that feeling starts from within. In each episode of this series, we will go behind the scenes of SmartWorks, sharing stories from the CEO, coaches and clients, and taking a look inside the wardrobe that will clothe over 10,000 women each year as part of their journey to employment. At SmartWorks, every woman is treated as an individual. SmartWorks knows that when a woman walks through our doors, she needs space, no judgment and kindness, and that's what the charity provides. Fashion can be an incredible force for good. When a woman looks and feels great about who she is, she can change her life. The right outfit can allow a woman to stand taller, feel relaxed and confident, and give her best in an interview. Dressing for interviews can feel daunting, but SmartWorks' dedicated volunteers make clients feel so at ease. It sounds deceptively simple, but the right outfit really does have the ability to change a whole woman's approach to an interview and lead to job success. That empowerment is so important to everything SmartWorks does. Clothing, confidence, coaching and community, those are the simple building blocks of the transformative SmartWorks service, which power a woman into employment. SmartWorks supported more than 10,000 women last year alone, but they can't do it alone. SmartWorks need you to join their mission at SmartWorks Charity and be a part of something incredible. Hi, I'm Dahlia and you're listening to Stressed But Well Dressed, and this series is a special collaboration with SmartWorks. Today, I'm joined by Caroline Graham, SmartWorks Ambassador. Good morning, Caroline.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm good, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Absolutely thrilled to be on this podcast, so thank you for inviting me.
I am so happy to have you, and I have just told you that I will be asking you almost immediately what your most memorable fashion moment is, and I know you just told me you're racking your brains thinking of one. Is there anything that's come to mind?
Well, yeah, I'm still thinking, but the brain's going very quickly. I could mention my wedding, but that's a bit dull, so I'd like to go further back in time because I remember when I was probably about 8 or 9, my birthday, which falls in July, we were always on holiday, and that meant that we were always in a caravan somewhere and never really felt fabulous in clothes. But I got this amazing blouse, like a lovely blue frilly blouse and a really high collar. And I remember, going about in the caravan park wearing this gorgeous blouse. And the reason I remember it is because I have one very similar right now, and it's exactly the same. So I think, wow, how fabulous that the fashion can move on and change. But I'm essentially wearing the same things that I wore when I was 8.
That is brilliant. I absolutely love it. And being the mum of a 9-year-old daughter, she is always trying to wear the same things as me, so it goes both ways.
So she's stealing your clothes
Oh,
already?
already, absolutely everything. So, Caroline, obviously you play a really important role at SmartWorks as an ambassador of the charity, but I know you do many different things. So do you want to introduce yourself and talk a bit about what you do?
I'd love to, thank you. So I'm actually a corporate ambassador for SmartWorks, which means I work within corporate environments, either to try and help fundraise within organizations, banks, big companies, try and help fundraise and raise awareness about SmartWorks. But equally, when I started working with SmartWorks, it was a little bit about bridging the gap between the corporate world and the fashion world. And this was literally 10 years ago when I was first introduced to SmartWorks. So companies I've worked in include Barclays Bank and PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC. So I'm kind of really am in a corporate world, but I love the bridge itself, the exposure I've had to fashion, to style, to clothes and what that really means. And it's been an incredible 10 years of thinking about my own kind of personal style journey and how I feel about clothes and what that does to my own, my own confidence.
So I'm really
My
interested to hear a bit more about that and your own journey. And I think that bit around, bridging the gap between corporate and fashion is important because they are two very different industries, particularly if we're thinking about professional services. And there is often a corporate uniform almost in terms of fashion. So
Yes.
what did you think you wanted to do kind of in terms of that bridge? What did you want to build?
Well, I mean, when I was first connected with SmartWorks, it was actually through a gender networking organization and a woman who ran it called Vanessa Vallely, who's a fabulous friend. She put on an event at Barclays while I
Oh,
worked at Barclays, and it was a SmartWorks event. So I went along, and at the time, I didn't have an affinity with a charity. Particularly, I was lucky enough not to have had any illnesses in the family, or I didn't have any children. So I was thinking, what can move me? And I went to this presentation at SmartWorks, and it moved me so much. It was such a great model. The fact that a simple but so effective model addressing a woman to help them get a job, I couldn't think of anything better. It literally moved me to tears. And so for that reason, I thought, well, what can I do to help? There's obviously a theme about giving back that runs through a lot of organizations, and you as an individual, as you maybe start to get older, you think, I'm really privileged. What can I do? And for me, I just knew I wanted to get involved. So I literally called up with then CEO Kate Stevens and the then chair, Lady Jules Hughes Hallett, and I said, I want to work with you. What can I do? And it led to a series of fabulous conversations where I was able to share what it was like to work at Barclays at the time and what that meant. And as you see, the corporate uniform, and maybe put to bed some myths that people that work in banks have loads of money and are always dressing fabulously. Well, we're just the same as any other woman, thinking about what we want to wear and getting it right and getting it wrong. But what I loved was kind of trying to bring the corporate angle to SmartWorks, and to help, to say that, people at Barclays, particularly at the time, we love a good competition. So if you want to try and have a fundraising target, make it more. Like, if you want to raise £10,000, let's just say we want to raise £50,000, because the bankers all love a target and we want to really blast things and be really successful. So I think that's what I brought to the equation, but it really helped me because I was always I lacked confidence like anybody about how I dress and what I should wear and what I shouldn't wear. And I saw my style completely changing while I was working with the SmartWorks team.
Wow. So actually, you didn't just kind of bring the insight in terms of bridging the gap, but actually you went through a bit of a personal transformation yourself in terms of style. And you referenced before you see such an intrinsic link between, what we wear and our confidence and then how we feel. So talk to me about what that meant for you.
Yeah, I've been thinking back over my career, as going into corporates, you're maybe influenced to wear suits. I mean, remember Dynasty and Dallas, where they all wore fabulous power suits with the shoulder pads and the color. And so I remember going into Barclays and buying a new suit, and I was super uncomfortable in it. And I don't think I ever wore it again, because the minute I got there, I started to look around and see what other people were wearing. I think that there's something special about having a new item, or indeed a new to you item. It gives you a boost, and that's the part of the SmartWorks model is providing clothes. Often new clothes, but sometimes lightly worn or lightly loved. But that special kind of feeling about having something new. And for me, I moved from being I had my own uniform, but it was mainly, I remember, trousers and a funky blouse. Karen Millen at the time was all the rage. So I did a fabulous, like, sparkly trousers and a nice blouse, but I was always quite masculine, I think, or less feminine. And then I moved into like dresses, but very corporate dresses. That's when Hobbs and LK Bennett started really pushing out these nice knee-length dresses and court shoes, and you had matching colors. And so I did years of that. But then when I started kind of going to meetings at SmartWorks, I was amazed at the dresses. It was always like they launched the dresses and trainers look. I remember looking at a fabulous young woman who essentially was wearing something that I could have worn to my own wedding at a meeting. It was a big, flowery, fabulous, flouncy dress, but massive trainers. And I was going, oh my God, I feel so frumpy. I feel so, so not with it, or not. I just was like, oh, wow, I'd love to have the confidence to wear that. And so I gradually started, like most women of my age, moving into the dresses and trainer look. And now I moved to color, and trying to make it a little bit more fun, and use color to try and highlight my own personality. And so I've really gone from one to the other,
And
and that it was entirely the artworks team that influenced me.
so it's not just kind of you've added value to other people, but there's been a bit of self-reflection there. I just wanted to pick up on one thing you said that I think is really important and centers so much around that idea that if you're stressed, it's really hard to feel well dressed. You said, you're in a meeting, you saw what other people were wearing and you felt frumpy. And I think when you attach words like that to yourself, you immediately start to minimize yourself in a way, or you can't be at your best.
Yeah.
And I think that is so tangible because everyone has those moments where they think, "Do you know what? I didn't feel great that day." And it was around what I was wearing or how I felt in the clothes I was wearing. And because of that, I didn't maybe kind of say what I wanted to say or speak up in the way or exude the confidence I wanted in that space. Did you feel that?
Absolutely, and I think we all feel it all the time. There's so much pressure, I think, to look good and look the right goods. So do I have the I'm not wearing too much lipstick, I'm not showing too much chest, I'm not wearing too much, my legs aren't showing too much. And then you add all that and how you're feeling with women's kind of health cycles. They may feel better at different times of the month, and we're learning a lot about women with terrible conditions such as endometriosis and how that can entirely, impact how they're feeling and even the size that they are for a particular part of the month. So add all that in, and you're trying to wear some kind of what you think is a uniform, and it might be uncomfortable in itself, and you might be wearing tights and heels or shoes, and you think, I just really want to be sitting in my jeans or my jogging outfit. So I know, but that's sort of kind of focusing on the negative. Flip to the positive when you've got an outfit that you love. It might be new, it might just be well worn and just suits you perfectly. It says something about you. You absolutely love yourself in it. And coming back, thinking about that is really powerful too. I love myself in it. I don't care really if this person over here likes it. I love it. But there's an element of it being appropriate for the audience and the room that you're in and the conversation that you might be having. But boiling down to I feel great. I absolutely love it. I'm gonna kind of keep my head held high. I feel proud and I feel strong, and I think it's super important and such an important aspect of doing well, and kind of having a great day.
There's a couple of things that I think are really well, everything you've said, I totally resonate with, but the idea of I love myself in it, and often I know that when people walk through those doors of SmartWorks, they might be in a moment where they don't love themselves. So going
Well,
through the process of getting the clothes, having the coaching, it's all about creating that inner confidence, isn't it? That ability to love yourself, or maybe refine that love for yourself that you might have lost.
absolutely, and I'm lucky enough to I'm a dresser and an interview coach at SmartWorks, a bit of a jack of all trades or Jacqueline of all trades. I've also worked in wardrobe, and so I've lucky enough to have seen and experienced the process at every stage. But there is the magical nature of the transformation when the women come in, and it's so sad and heartbreaking to hear what they've gone through, but what the transformation happens really quickly. The smart work offices are beautiful, they're friendly, there's gorgeous people. It's all about welcoming the client. And in the minute they come through the door, you can see they're okay, there's an apprehension, but it lifts really quickly. And when it's a case of here's a curated outfit, try this on, we think it will work for you because you've discussed what you like. And then trying on the clothes and coming out like this magical transformation moment. And the conversation starts, and then there's a chat and you can see the excitement. It is absolutely, it's mind blowing. And that's why this model is so brilliant. And that's why SmartWorks is doing such an amazing job.
I completely agree. And I think actually putting the right clothes on can allow you to, in some ways, remove a layer of yourself that you might have kind of been using as a mask almost in the wrong clothes or in something that felt uncomfortable to hide away and actually bring to life the real you. One thing that you said, and is particularly interesting for the corporate world, is the right kind of good. And I think when you're outside and you're looking in and you're thinking everyone's dressed in a suit or everyone looks really smart, and I can't see myself in that space, it can be really hard to then think about how you get into role. How have you really worked to kind of break down some of the, I guess, I'm thinking about the word, maybe kind of barriers or kind of views that people have about working in corporate and made it more accessible for people coming through the doors of SmartWorks?
Yeah, I think there's probably two different elements. There's the element of the coaching and dressing at SmartWorks, which may be sometimes different to see someone joining my team in the corporate environment itself. So if you take maybe a younger person joining the office, I've often had people start, and I would think perhaps I would like to give them some advice which they can take or leave about perhaps what it is they're wearing. Sometimes it can be too casual. You don't necessarily want midriff showing in a corporate environment, even if you do have fabulous abs, or and really just trying to help the younger women feel more comfortable in the space that they're in. And in my environment, it's usually around men, and so you want them to be fabulous and show their personality, but you also don't you want them to be comfortable in the right way and to be professional. And so there is a slight kind of dotted line of the professional to what you'd wear going out on a Saturday night. And but coming back to SmartWorks, the journey that the women go on with the dressers, with coaching, is very much about finding what they want, their style. But I've also seen and been successful myself in just edging the women slightly forward. So most of the women would come in and say, I'd like a white blouse and a black skirt or black trousers and a black jacket. And if you remember, some of the clients don't have any clothes at all. So they're maybe thinking of things that they can wear again and again and again. And that's really important. But how about try to add a little bit of color? So rather than the black trousers, maybe a blue or a red, or with a black jacket, and things that they can mix and match to then show them as well that just a little bit of color can make a difference to their mood and to how they look, so that they'll pop. There's some that absolutely want to stick to the black white, and that's great too, because SmartWorks has some fabulous retailers like Burberry and Hobbs that donate their new suits, and so the quality is fabulous. And who doesn't need a black suit? But it's how about maybe we'll try it with a little scarf or a fabulous red handbag, and so trying to influence a little bit to show that your mood can be in a certain way when you try something on, but maybe if you try something with a little bit of color, a little bit of pattern, it can change, and you can suddenly go from being kind of normal to, wow, I love myself
Yeah.
in this, and I'm feeling, even as I'm saying that, actually, I just got goosepimples there, because I remember that experience of watching the smile grow and the twirls, and oh my God, I didn't think I could look like this. It's just a phenomenal experience.
And the color piece as well is interesting because people often talk about wanting to. I mean, I love black clothes sometimes, but sometimes you do use them to shy away. So having the confidence to be a bit more standout and to be proud of who you are might come from a bit more color, or a statement bag or something like that that you give
Yeah.
someone to show, do you know what, you have the right to stand out and be proud of who you are.
Well, absolutely. And you say that, I think your jacket's black, it might be navy, but
It's
you've got a
navy.
fabulous T-shirt. It's really pretty, and
I've
so I
gone
like that as
fruity. I've gone
well.
fruity today.
And a gorgeous necklace. So look what you're doing. It's quite simple. You're mixing up the styles. I really like that too. It feels quite fresh and modern. I love, you get a lot of statement T-shirts now. I was debating whether or not to wear a T-shirt that my sister Celia gave me for Christmas. It says "Woman Up" on it. You've probably seen it out there, and I was thinking maybe I'll wear that. But I could wear that easily under a jacket, and people might be interested in what the words say. Now, of course, you don't always want people sitting at your chest, but I love that quirky look.
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to talk about color, so I wore this bright orange thing. I have orange trousers to match, but you know, uh, I and it's full on. There's no doubt it's bright orange, and the trousers I'm wearing are bright orange as well. But I don't wear I can't wear it every day. I can wear it some days, and then I think, okay, I'm going to pull back a little bit into a more, kind of neutral shade or darker. But when I really want to pop and I've got something really fabulous to do, or it feels it's a little bit, maybe going to a conference or speaking at something, I'll try and go in bright color to show that you can absolutely kind of have a little fun with what you're wearing.
Yeah, and I think it is all about having fun with what you're wearing. I always caution myself though, because I also have some awesome orange trousers, orange leather, wide leg trousers. And one day I was going to an event and I thought I'm just going to go for it, and I put them on with a purple and brown top. And my husband, before I left, was like, you do know you look like Scooby-Doo from someone from the show. I can't quite think who it was. And I was like, I'm just gonna own it, but I absolutely couldn't own it. And I got out of the house to the event, and that was all I could hear in my head. So in my mind, I was racing him to get home because I was like, this just doesn't feel right. I need to change it for something else. But orange, I absolutely love. So
I think we've all been there, like wearing something that you wish you hadn't. I mean, how many times do you really want to go home and go, that not work? Back in the day when I was in my more kind of corporate formal, I had a navy pair of trousers and a black pair of trousers, same. I was a bit maybe tipped by them in different colours, and I'm a bit obsessed with navy and black don't go together. And I wore the black trousers thinking they were navy, and I wore black boots. Oh no, black trousers, navy boots. Worse than the other way around. Of course, nobody noticed. There's a bit about that as well. It has to be about you because if you ask your best friends, what was I wearing yesterday? And we hung out all day, they probably wouldn't remember
yeah.
because we do put a lot of emphasis on it. But people around just feel your aura, they feel your confidence, they know you, they think you're fabulous. They kind of don't care what you wear, but but that's all part of you being brilliant and bringing that fabulous to the table.
And I guess with smart works, one of the most important things is to make the women who come through the doors feel that brilliant, know that they can
Yeah.
feel brilliant because they might not have been told that before, or they might be in a situation at home where, that they're being told very different things on a daily basis.
Yeah, and that's it's so sad. And again, why it's so powerful. And the women, the clients that do come have all sorts of different reasons. And it might be that they were once at work and had a healthy kind of professional life, but something happens, and it's that change where it can come back quite quickly. It's maybe just under the surface. It's that facilitation of power and energy and confidence and joy by simply providing a great outfit and the compliments that come with it. And there's something I was thinking about for this is how clothes can facilitate really positive
Yeah.
conversations and can start connections in this world where we were all in COVID and we're all kind of struggling a little bit with hybrid and our styles have probably changed. I cannot wear high heels anymore, and that's I lived in them. My feet have changed, but the connections that come from you genuinely as women saying, "Oh my god, I love your t-shirt." And I'm not expecting anything back from that. I just love it and I'm going to say that. But there's that kind of sisterhood and there's a really great way of connecting and building friendships. And randomly, when I mentioned I bought a new suit for my new job, for my jobs, I wore a pink Zara suit my first day at PwC a few years ago. And in the loos, very early on in my day, picking up my laptop and trying to log in and go through all that nightmare, a woman just came in and went, "Oh my god, I love your suit." And here I am, like a couple of years later, talking about it.
Yeah.
I'll know her. I'll remember her name. I'll remember that how kind of comfortable and happy she made me feel just by complimenting on something that I'd clearly put a lot of time and effort into thinking about and choosing because it was my first day. But here's someone that said, "Oh, you look great," and it made me feel fabulous, and I'll remember it as I say for how it made me feel.
And it's sometimes as simple as feeling seen as well, isn't it? If you've been in a situation where you don't feel visible, you don't feel seen, someone else kind of recognizing that you exist, and not just that you exist, but that you look great, that aura is there, is everything, isn't it? Like you said, it was 2 years ago, and it's still a moment that stands out for you.
And I love that. I love that about women that we're very generous with that, and we want to know where you got something, and where did you get that, and is it still in the shops, and can I ask how much it was, or there's that film where it's and I'm doing a thing where I wish I hadn't done. I can't remember the name of it. It was a film where women in the north were fighting to get equal pay, and there's some fabulous female actors in it, and they successfully managed to change legislation to ensure that women did get equal pay for the same job. And they're standing with MPs waiting to kind of meet really important people, and they turn to each other. I went, "Oh, I love your dress, by the way. Where did you get it, man?" It's DNA because it's an older. And there was a bit at the time a bit of conversation around they had just achieved something remarkable, and they were very different status. The women in the lineup were very of the different kind of socioeconomic backgrounds. At the same time, they found this common ground and, oh, you look great. Well, thanks, where'd you get it? Oh, see a knee, how fabulous. I love that. It's really part of it, and it kind of brings you kind of joy as well to really see somebody and compliment them, and then instantly you've got a relationship with that person.
And just thinking about connectivity and networks, I just want to ask you, Caroline, because I know it's a big part of what you do. You do a whole lot in terms of gender resource groups and networks, not just here, but in India as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it started at Barclays, where I had not worked in a big company before, and suddenly you've got this massive organization with hundreds of thousands of people. Somebody said one day, "Why don't you come to this women's networking event?" I went, "Oh, what's that?" And that's what happened. At the companies like Barclays and many others have what they call employee resource groups or networks, where you create safe spaces for minority groups. So you'll have one for LGBTQ, you'll have one for culture and disability, etc. And I was drawn to the at the time the women's network, which later I changed to become a gender network to include women, all women, and men as male allies. So I basically chaired for years this gender network at Barclays, which allowed me to work on initiatives of all kinds that just to promote and develop and basically celebrate women, to help them be all they could be in their professional careers. Um, but I did move to India. I was lucky enough to do a 3-year stint in India with Barclays and out there. It was something I did again. I kind of wanted to create a network for women. Found that the challenges were similar, but there were different ones around women speaking up and being less kind of quiet in a room, and to really bring themselves to the office and to push forward and ask for things. And that led to me co-founding with the woman I mentioned before, Vanessa Valley. We are the City India, and it's a platform for women to network, support each other, and find out what events are available locally, and just read about inspirational stories. So for me, that's just been a thread, and indeed, it's why SmartWorks was so perfect, because I was already involved in that kind of female organization internally and wanted to do more. I wanted to do the giving back and get actively involved in a different aspect of a woman's life, because mine was all very professional corporate. So yeah, it's actually what's given me joy, and I'd counsel or advise anyone out there who is in a company and you're not as happy as you could be. There are always different things to do at organizations, and finding, for example, one of these networks and getting involved can really give you a lift. And for me, it's what kept me going for years at Barclays and gave me real joy.
I I really agree with that actually because I've read some really interesting books on redesigning your working life, and it's not
No,
necessarily about completely changing your career. It's often about either reframing perspective or about thinking if you're working in an organization that has different resources, different kind of ways to add value, thinking about what those moments are where you can create that joy for yourself and really think about what inspires you and motivates you and impassions you to be able to make an impact.
absolutely. And I didn't do it for gain. My motivations for getting involved, where I was new to this organization, I was lost. I was in that kind of nightmare where I woke up and thought, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing here. And this gave me a really good safe outlets, and to meet other women who genuinely felt the same. And there's a bit of a theme at the moment about imposter syndrome, and I've got some friends, Susan and who I've launched a report about the imposter syndrome, and how how to kind of counter it and battle against it. But it's definitely something to think about. And I was at a I'm actually right now, I wasn't sure where I was going to say this, but I am in between roles right now because I left PwC a couple of weeks ago, and I'm currently interviewing. And I'm comfortable that I'll get something, but don't know when it's going to be. So I'm therefore anxious as well. And so I went to a networking event. Someone said to me once, "Go to the opening of an envelope," and so I went. I didn't want to go. I was like, "Oh, no," But I got there and it was great. It was all women and it was just about lifting other women up. And in the room was a fabulous friend called Abisula Barber, and she had been a graduate and had joined one of my gender network committees when it was first starting. And she rose to be a formidable senior executive at Barclays and is now at Citibank, I think. Yeah, City. And she reminded me, I didn't ask for anything, but she says, my goodness, why are you feeling a bit down? What you did for me and how you helped me and how you motivated me and the things that you did while you were running your WIN, it's called WIN, the gender network. She says, I cannot tell you how fabulous you were. And it gave me such a lift, and it reminded me how much work I put into it and how great it was. But it also reminds you that everybody needs a bit of a lift from time to time. And again, this is all connection points. It's all about helping and giving and getting back and, recognizing that it doesn't matter what stage you're at or who you are, you're always going to need, a little bit of friendship, a bit of connection, and hopefully someone that has your back.
Yeah, and I think that's the point, isn't it, with SmartWorks, that once you join the community and go through the process, people stay, don't they, and kind of pay it forwards. Clients become coaches for other people or dressers because the value of that connection at the time when you need it most is so inspiring that people then want to share it.
Absolutely, totally agree. And I stumbled on this imposter syndrome thing, and I feel really bad because these are good friends of mine. Can I just say it's Susan Malbrook and Oslin Toscan who have brought out this report. And if anyone was interested in reading about imposter syndrome, you can feel free to DM me after.
Yeah, and I think, we all have imposter syndrome. I'm here in studio today recording, and even before every podcast, I'm like, how is this going to go? Do I have a right to do this? This is still only kind of a year and a half in. I think we're all doubting ourselves, but when we have that underlying confidence, or we have the ability to love ourselves, we can overcome it. It's when we don't that we really, really need that support of others to carry us forwards. Have there been any stories from the work that you've done with SmartWorks that have really stood out for you?
I think a couple of things when meeting the women themselves, each time is a transformation. It's also quite exhausting that you're on the whole time from the minute the woman walks in the door to the minute they leave. This you're kind of working with them to bring out that joy. And I do remember clients, of course, who have had different challenges um for different reasons, women that are coming back to the office through um having to care for a relative. And that, the moment my mum's got dementia, and so I can see how that might start impacting different parts of one's life. My sisters do a lot of the caring, and I think there's a road ahead of us all where that might get more difficult. Um, or different, a lot of Ukrainian women started coming into to SmartWorks, and they had literally upped and left and had nothing but the clothes they were wearing. And I don't think we can ever even imagine. I mean, you just can't. But how fabulous it was to dress, Ukrainian women and women have literally come away from their country and have nothing. So I think these individual moments, and then I go to a lot of SmartWorks events, and it's fabulous to see some of the clients talking about their experience, and I'm always moved to tears. Not only are they back in work and creating their own, you know, their own professional kind of success, they're obviously able to then contribute back to their family and provide that economic success to their families. But they're standing on stage in front of 200 other people, often at the House of Lords or in fabulous offices, and just saying, this is what it was like for me and look at where I am now. So all of that just never goes away. But one thing I'm really proud about was while I was at Barclays, I decided to do a fundraiser for SmartWorks and pull together my network to try and raise funds. And I was really keen to make it an impactful sum, a sum of money that would allow them perhaps to open a new office. And I'm delighted to be raised, over 100, I think it was under
Wow,
25,000 on
that's
one night.
phenomenal.
And that was a number of years ago. And it was the biggest sum of money in one single event had been raised for SmartWorks at the time. And I think back to it now, it was just a fabulous coming together of people who it's a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer, who wanted to donate, give money. The people that were there helping do an auction and singing and providing entertainment. We're all doing it for free because we just believed in it. But it is one of my proudest moments. And I look back and I go, oh my God, how did I do that? Even now I have imposter syndrome now, but could I do that again? I don't know if I could, but I think the stars aligned. People in my team were fabulous and supported me, and it was just a good time to do it, and I'm really proud of it.
And that is as I said, it's a phenomenal amount of money. But the good that that can do in terms of creating more opportunities for more women to step back into employment is, you, you just can't quantify what that can bring to people in terms of each individual life that is touched through that and is changed through it as well. Caroline, this has been such an interesting conversation. And, I really value the fact that you've talked about your role as an ambassador at SmartWorks, but also quite a lot of reflection around the personal journey you've been on in terms of what you wear, but then also your identity as well. And it just brings it back to the fact that, we all need to recognize that we love ourselves, but also we need to sometimes share that love and feedback and support with others to make sure that, we all hear it, we all feel seen, and we all know the value that we can contribute. To anyone listening to this, thinking about getting involved in SmartWorks, or even just thinking about kind of, I guess, battling their own demons in terms of imposter syndrome, what would be your reflection and advice that you share with them?
Well, firstly, in order to get involved, it's quite easy. There are multiple different layers. Again, why it's such a brilliant charity. You don't, if you have clothes that are lightly worn and in good quality, but you don't wear them for whatever reason, get them over to SmartWorks. That includes shoes, bags, etc. Or go onto the network, go onto the website and just donate money, because hard cash is always good. Something I said a lot when I started. So I'd go into companies and say, yeah, I get it. We've all got clothes that we want to box up, but actually, where's the money? Get some,
Show me the
donates as
money.
well. Was the money, and so you can do that nice, easy, and you start to see this fabulous model where you buy something at, say, Bobby Brown, one of the partners, and at the end you can choose to donate £5 to SmartWorks. Now I know it all adds up, but that's a dead easy way, and it's a reminder of what you can do. And then they are looking for volunteers. So again, on the website, you could potentially volunteer to be an interview coach, or you could be a dresser, or you could work in the wardrobe. And so there's lots of ways to actively give back. And what's great is that women from all walks of life, ages and stages, maybe spend a day or a week or a day every couple of weeks going to the centre, and the boost that it will give you is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, thank you for that. And hopefully listeners will feel really inspired to get involved and help in the way they can. Caroline, I've loved speaking to you. I finish every episode by asking if you're stressed or well dressed.
I'm well dressed. I'm certainly not stressed now. This has been fabulous. And I'd like to end with a quote that I got from my sister Celia last night when we were chatting about this. She said, just get to your wardrobe and have a good word with yourself. And I thought, oh my God, well, that goes to the wardrobe, have a word with yourself. So don't choose the black top, choose the red top.
I love that. So if you're feeling stressed and you want to be well dressed, get to your wardrobe and have a good word with yourself. I will end there. Caroline, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
I hope this got you thinking about what well dressed means for you. If you enjoyed the show, jump onto the platform and give us a review. Thanks for listening to Stressed But Well Dressed. I'm your host, Dahlia Stroud. Have a great day. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I love your outfit.